Hello everyone, welcome back. What's up? Happy Sunday. Welcome to another live stream. It's been a while. More than 2 weeks now since we did the last stream. I've been in Portugal. I was supposed to be only 1 week. I ended up being 2 instead. Enjoying the good weather, some time with family. So it was nice. I'm back into the UK. Yeah, so just resuming with trading and everything else. The Euros also started, so that's nice for anyone that likes football. England playing in 2 hours basically, so I'm going to try not take too long, so everyone can go watch the game. I'm looking forward for Portugal actually on Tuesday. So yeah, if you want to make some bets, let's tell me who do you think is going to win the Euros and who's going to the final. Best goal scorer as well. Yeah, feel free to comment if you like football. But yeah, in the market, what did you have? Like, we have a big and busy week. The one that just passed by. We had the CPI and FOMC on the same day, right? So basically 2 out of the 3 biggest events of the month, NFP, CPI, and FOMC, even though FOMC doesn't happen every month. Basically 2 of them on the same day. And as expected, there was a lot of volatility, a lot of movement in there, right? So basically, looking at the CPI, we had a second consecutive month with a better CPI than expected. So the data was better, lower. At this point, if not mistaken, core CPI 3.4, normal CPI maybe 3.3 or something like that. In the US, that's exactly what the Fed wanted to try to see. So consecutive months with good data after we had like two or three months with a higher CPI than expected. Now we have 2 lower, right? And again, the way the market is reacting to it is to try to price in 2 rate cuts until the end of the year, and most likely the first one to happen already in September, right? That's always been the question: when is going to be the first one, September or November, and how many rate cuts are expecting until the end of the year. Market looking for 2. In this Fed meeting, we also had the projection from the Fed, and the Fed actually is looking more for 1 rate cut until the end of the year. So that's what it is. Something concerned, and as always, Pedro Powell didn't surprise anyone in the sense that when the data is maybe bad, he's trying to show the other hand, right? Trying to say, hey, it's not as bad as you guys think it is. There's maybe this positive. And when it starts to be maybe quite interesting in terms of CPI, for example, he's starting to put some eyes on the situation, saying that, hold on a second, there's maybe this that we need to be concerned of, and so on and so on. He's always trying to balance the market in here. And that's just the way he's trying. He has been now is managing this situation with the Fed meetings, with what he says, and so on and so forth. So this Fed meeting, we also had the projections, and that's a little bit of the concern, right? Because the concern is that basically the Fed is looking for the CPI and the core CPI basically to be at the same rate where it is now, and we are still by the end of the year, right? So we still have 6 months ahead of us, and basically he's not looking to have any kind of improvement CPI or inflation in this case. Main reason for that is because also the last 6 months of last year, the data was already quite low. So to improve, even open that data it's going to be quite hard. That's why one of the reasons is looking for the CPI, just the way it's calculated, comparing with the last year and previous year, that it is what it is. One concern though is the unemployment, right? Labor market, in particular, the unemployment claims, for example, started to increase. While I was away, we also had the non-farm payroll, which was actually quite better, higher than expected. However, there are some concerns in there. For example, most of the jobs that were actually gained was for people looking for a second job. Full-time employees actually kind of got lower than it was. So again, the data, when you're looking especially for unemployment, even CPI, it's important to look into the details to see if the number is actually as good or as bad as it came out as the first look. All right. So yeah, that's the data. So what else happened? It was the BOG. Okay, so basically remain the same rate. Maybe in July they're going to increase again. Again, we are continues to be in the same situation with when looking at the yen index. So that's what happened. While I was away as well, we had the first rate cuts in Canada and the Eurozone as well. That was already 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago. And this week we are going to have in Australia and in the UK interest rate decisions, also CPI in the UK. So yeah, that's mostly it. Looking at the market, basically the same rectangle. I believe I already had this rectangle before 2 weeks ago when I did the last live stream, and there you go. Right, so basically we're looking. This is dollar index, and we always start with dollar index. So basically we're going to look at the FX indices, commodities, a little bit of crypto as well. So yeah, if you are new, feel free to subscribe and share your comments as well. So if you are looking for any specific level, let's look at it, and yeah, let's try to see what opportunities we can look for the week ahead. So yes, that was the rectangle, and that has been the rectangle for a while now. So we do have this double top in here. We had this demand zone again on the higher time frame. It looked quite strong. We did manage to go slightly below this low, but if you guys recall as well, I was not just looking for this demand in here, but for the overall level in here to be broken, actually, to start looking for a potential continuation to the downside. As long as this one holds, then there will be the chance that price could actually start moving upwards from there. What we also had in here is that initially there is kind of this push up in here, then you had the move down with the CPI, and then with FOMC kind of start move upwards again, basically just retesting this level. Didn't even retest as low as reacting from this demand zone. Maybe on the lower time frame there's something in there, but in general we start breaking this size. Basically managed to break out this level and to start turning bullish. We had this low in here also to just used as liquidity in here. So that's basically what we had in here, initially with the NFP pushing higher, and then with FOMC also pushing higher, where we had initially with the CPI, if not mistaken. Yeah, with the CPI first moving lower in there. So what we're expecting now on the dollar index, everything in here was compressed already, basically, and now, yes, now looking for price maybe to start getting a little bit closer to this level in here. To be honest, already fake out this high. I think we are going to have a continuation a bit more to the upside, at least towards this level. And something else is that we do have this double top in here. And as I mentioned last time we did the stream, even before that, we do have price faking out and breaking into this level, but we do have this full gap in there. So we do have that gap in there that is still not closed, and that can still eventually push price a bit more to the upside. Now this level could be okay. I think there's maybe already a move down, up and down in here. I think if you actually zoom in into that level, and if that's the case, it looks like it's the case, it makes it a bit weaker in here. Yep, we do already have that move. So we already have price making this push down, retest this level, and push down again. So that level is already weak in here, and they're looking eventually for price maybe to get a bit closer to this level in there. So that's a little bit of next level on dollar index, but in general we do have this double top, and because we do have this double top, I'm looking for price actually eventually to go higher. So if I am looking for any moves downside on the dollar index from here, I want to see PA. That's going to help to see that. Okay, again, PA that could help, that it will be some lows being broken along the way, some level of structure here to then fake out. Yeah, maybe actually use that high that you already reacted from it, and maybe that supply could be used, or some of these left shoulders as well a little bit higher. But because we do have this double top, and that gap actually was never closed, eventually could go a little bit more to the upside. Is price ready to just break from here, still respect this level and go down? Not really sure about that, to be honest. Not really sure about that. I could see eventually price actually just continue. We do have this level in here now, this zone in here It was previous highs, price went up, now it left kind of this demand zone in alignment with that level. Price could actually respect maybe something like that and continue to move to the upside and eventually targeting this level. That's a little bit more of what I'm looking for on the dollar in here. Okay, so that's a little bit of what I'll be looking for on the dollar index. Basically to fill again this rectangle, that was the initial rectangle we already had a few weeks ago, and it doesn't change anything since price respected basically the origin of it. I think it can go a little bit more closer to that level as well. Maybe if you do have a small break of this high, maybe that can be a little bit of a move to downside. Maybe just faking out this level, reacting within this zone in there. Maybe there's something in there to look for. But in general, I think the index could go a little bit more closer to these highs in there. Yeah. All right. So that's dollar index. Again, in terms of news, I don't think there's anything relevant for the dollar. There's the core retail sales, okay, and then on Friday there's going to be again manufacturing services PMI. These days are always important as well. There's a lot of volatility, most likely kind of moves in one direction when we have this type of days. So aside from that, it's going to be maybe a little bit more focused on other currency pairs like Australia or pound in here. Yeah, so that's what we have in this case. Moving along, what do we have, right? So let's take a look at the euro index. Yeah, euro index first, and then go into the indices. Okay, let's look at the indices first, and then I jump into the euro index and the yen index in there. All right, the indices, well, we just continue to break new all-time highs, okay? We did manage to respect kind of this structure, and price just went to the upside. I still like this break of a low, but since for now nothing really happened after that, price just kept respecting the demand zones, and it just continues to go and move to the upside. And now we have this level, like, so this is one of the next zones in here to pay attention to in there. We do have a few highs in here. Again, we can basically approach these levels as we already mentioned a few months ago when we covered how to trade all-time highs on the indices. Basically, when you don't have any information on the left side, like this is exactly the situation what you have. We have zero information of what's going on the left because we don't have price in there. This is all-time highs. So in terms of how to trade these levels, you need to be a bit more conservative. Okay, we cannot really trade just every single double top or whatever it may be, because there's always the risk of price wanting to make a new high in here. So we really need to wait for a proper break, for fake liquidity being attracted before even jumping into any trade. At least if you're looking a bit more into the medium time frame, not going to even say higher time frame. Yeah, so that will be a little bit more of the approach. We do have this few one high, two highs, three highs, kind of have a few highs in here. Okay, it starts to create a little bit of a resistance level around this level, and we do have now this kind of break of lows in here. So that starts to look nice. Something interesting is that price didn't really manage to reach this demand zone. Kind of it looks like it left this price in here. So that's something to bear in mind, which means that price can still eventually push one more time lower and still respect this level, and that can be a potential target for any sell that you're going to be looking for. Again, if you are looking for reversals, if you are looking for continuation, so anytime you kind of have price retracing a little bit, you can look for those longs on the indices. And at this point, that's basically still the higher time frame kind of trend that you are seeing in here, still creating new highs. If prices start breaking below that level in here, basically this zone in here, I think price can start going a little bit lower. Not really much going on. There's maybe a little bit of something going on in here that price can still respect, but aside from that, I think price could go a bit more lower. In there is also kind of an interesting level, but price already broke that low and eventually could go even a bit more to the downside in here. For now, yes, I would like actually to see first this high has been taken, even though maybe there's a little bit of something in here, but I would like to see this high has been taken first and then push lower. Like that, again, price can just fake out this level and react from here again and just continue to move higher as well. Okay, so again, when you do find this kind of levels that price creates a double top or a double bottom, something like that, it respects a few times, does tend then to keep respecting them as well in the future. So that those are always good levels to look for opportunities, or at least some bounces on the intraday level, for example, in here. It's a nice approach, a strong compression that's going on in here. So eventually you can actually have this push lower in there. But for now, first wait for highs to be taken. NASDAQ kind of the same as well. So it continues to create new highs in here. This is basically now the new level that we have with these lows, and yeah, basically we have those highs as well in there. So we finished the week literally at the highs, again creating new all-time highs, just similar to S&P, and we'll see, right? So we'll see what kind of PA eventually we're going to have around this level. Not really much to say. Yes, there's a nice compression on the way up in here. Yeah, but everything is going to be just intraday kind of setup. If you do find any kind of sales in here, at this point I wouldn't even be looking for. Longs is always risky because, again, yes, price can just skyrocket even more, but it can actually just drop. There's maybe this level in here that is still fresh, underneath is above low, so that's maybe a level to look for, and then eventually can even go slightly lower in there. Yeah, somewhere in there, again, targeting this above low eventually can be a place to look for this week as a level to look for trades in there. So that's definitely something. So yeah, if you do find anything interesting in here to fake out, yeah, go ahead and maybe look for that sell opportunity. Okay, again, it doesn't really change the type of scenario that you're looking for at this point. Basically, this is the demand that is holding, or that managed to break price and break out these highs in here. So if you do continue to go slightly higher and eventually maybe break below this level, we can maybe move all the way towards this level and eventually even target somewhere in there, and then from here price is free to just resume to move to the upside in here. Okay, but yes, this compression looks quite strong at this point, the way price moved on Friday. But yeah, it closed at a high, so can gain some more momentum on Monday, and then you can slow it reverse, and then we'll see by the middle of the week if we kind of resume again the all-time highs, or we start having a bit more bearish in here. So not really much to look at NASDAQ at this point. More intraday setup in there. Dow continues. It's still the one a bit more bearish than the others. It made all the move to downside in here, basically respected one of the targets, then respected the supply, and we are stuck in the middle in here. So not really nothing special in here to look for in terms of trades. Yes, maybe can react a little bit from this level. Maybe price can continue to range a bit more within this zone. Kind of price already reacted from the upper edge. Maybe there's still this demand zone that is still fresh underneath this low, which is now a double low. So that's always a level that we can look for. Okay, so we'll see. And then at the highs as well, can definitely bounce from there as well. So again, yes, if you're looking for something in here, maybe you can trade one level to the other. Eventually you could still see price moving a little bit more, but price already reacted nicely from this level. So all the shorts from here is basically done. Yes, there's maybe potential for more downside, but for now, yeah, we need a little bit more PA as well to eventually look for that in here. So yeah, that's basically what we have in here, and we'll see. We'll see if price eventually breaks away from one of these ranges. If it just starts moving higher from here without really breaking any lows in here, that may still be a bit more bullish, and price can actually eventually create new all-time highs. If you do have one push lower again and create kind of breaking below that level one more time, and then starts moving upwards, then you could have another move lower. Whenever price eventually tests this zone in here. We'll see if that happens this week or not. And then DAX, beautifully, right? So DAX is one that played out quite nicely during these last few weeks. Again, we have this range, bigger range in here. We actually have one of those break of levels as well, kind of that structure. Meanwhile, we move higher, we fake out this level, and then you have this flow turn, right? So we start to print new lows in here, so we start turning bearish. We talked about this level in here, beautiful reaction from this left shoulder after breaking these lows in here. So that's a great reaction. Price went lower, broke the lows, went slightly higher in here, then create a new low, so kind of continuation of the indication that want to go lower. Again, didn't even reacted from this level yet when this low was created, so there was still space in here for price to fill at least, and there was this space as well for price to go and fake out, right? There was this high in here to fake out. Price just reacted from this level. Initially I was looking even a little bit more to the upside, but that apparently it was enough. I think it was on the day of the interest rate decision in the ECB. Yep, I think that was the one. And since then has been bearish. Again, I was looking even for price to get slightly close with this level. Didn't react from there, just reacted then from this supply in here. I think that was the move that I was looking for price to move lower. In here then it was okay because it's already reaction from actually this level in here. So that's actually kind of an interesting one. Again, if you do, or if you are aware of those levels, either in the bigger picture or something like that, yeah, those are just beautiful to eventually look for the trade. The way you can look for those trades is by actually looking then if there's a level that is fresh in alignment with that one. Like if you have maybe a fresh supply level that is still, that price hasn't really touched on the way down, that becomes a really interesting level. Okay, if you also have confirmation of breaks of levels to actually show that price still wants to go lower, that's another reinforcement that maybe this is a great level to look for a short from here. And then you don't even need to place just a sell limit in here. You can actually then look for PI within this level as price is reacting from there. If you do find any PI in here, then you can look for your trade. And in this case, we kind of had this type of PI in here. Okay, start breaking lows as well, kind of moved, broke one more low in there, reaction, and then you start moving to the downside. Yeah, but it all starts kind of in alignment with that higher time frame analysis. But in general, DAX, really nice move. Again, the PI all the way to the downside was really good. Personally, I really liked it. The way price was breaking lows and it was just making small fake outs, still respecting the overall high, then kind of respecting the next fake out in there. Again, kind of still respecting. So there was never really a second high being broken, right? It was not the case of a price kind of is moving like this. Okay, creates the high, kind of creates a little bit of a zone, fakes out. Like it's not that price went all the way to fake out now this high. No, this already fake out that one, and then price which we just, damn it. Okay, it's that price kind of fake out that level, then kind of it goes, fake outs this one in here, and then kind of it creates a little bit of a level in here, then fake out that one, kind of keeps respecting something like that, where there's not exactly second high now being broken in here. As long as that is done, kind of it starts actually looking bearish in here. What's the target? Okay, first initial target, if you want to look at it like this, yes, can be this low, those lows in here that made all this push upwards. We do have this demand zone in there, so that will be it. But personally, I do think that price wants to still go a little bit lower. I do have this gap in here. Not really sure if this is real or just from this data feed. Yeah, so yeah, somewhere in there could be another one, and then of course start challenging actually this other level in there. Now, not really expecting DAX to just crash like this. No, you can definitely retrace. You can create some PI around this level and eventually maybe making another leg down in here. Or you can even first take these lows on Monday and then start moving a bit more to the upside and then eventually fill the range. Okay, you can maybe close this gap first, go somewhere in there. Okay, react from something in here. Okay, and then make the move upwards, challenge somewhere in this level, and from here then you can remove, kind of move and fill this level in here. So that actually can be an interesting level on the DAX to look for this week. All right, that's a little bit of the indices. Crypto just continued to move lower with a little bit of recovery over this weekend. Okay, apparently we managed to respect the highs, create a little bit of good PI, and then move to the downside. Okay, again, same thing with BTC. Basically, we managed to respect the highs in here that were created back in May, and then it started printing lows. It even managed to break below this trend line as well, kind of the compression level that was in there. And yeah, eventually when you do break below that level, the expectation is always to fill that zone. That's basically what happened here. Good reaction from this level, and moving lower. Now I do have this level in here as well, so eventually we could go below that level in there. Okay, in here below this wall, price kind of reacting a little bit from this high, but I think price could eventually move a bit. Yeah, it could move a bit more to the downside in here. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe challenge again something in there, or eventually even this value. It's in the middle. It's in the middle, like, so basically maybe around the 50% retracement, especially if you consider from this low in here. That's basically where price retrace towards to. So we'll see. We'll see if BTC is ready to start turning a little bit more, or just continues to move to the downside. And there are a few levels in here that price can still respect, while continuing to push lower in here. Yep, Ethereum also reacting from this level. So that's basically where Ethereum end up reacting from. Okay, basically a little bit from this previous level support resistance, and there you go. With the chance still again to continue to move lower. Again, we took this low. Good reaction a little bit from this supply level. Could even react from the next one. It's going to be an interesting one as well. Ethereum, at least you did manage to create this double low in here. That's kind of a nice collection of liquidity in there, so that was not bad. And then price just respecting the upper edge in here. So yeah, at this point in the shorter time frame, it does look a bit more bullish, even though a lot of that movement has already happened as well. So we'll see how price may react around this highs in here. Okay, but again, it's another one that is basically in the middle at this point. And then we have Solana. Basically, Solana filled out this range in here. The reaction was quite good at the highs, and we start breaking these lows, and then eventually just pushed lower in there. So we'll see. Again, I don't like the idea of eventually price moving a bit more to the downside. In my opinion, price reacted from interesting levels in here. So it reacted from a nice level in there. Ethereum also reacted from a really nice level at the high, so I'm not going to invalidate that level in here, and that can actually eventually become even a bit more bearish, just because of actually the level that price reacted from in here, faking out this high in there. So that's totally a reasonable level to look for, and eventually price can actually move a bit lower in here. So we'll see what's going to happen in there. Euro index, this is one of the most clear ones. Again, we have been looking for it as well for a while. Price just continued to push a little bit higher. Eventually it fake out that level, and basically the last time I did the stream, price was around this level in here. Okay, with the expectation to see price moving lower initially to fill this range, which it did. Okay, to fill a little bit of this level, it did, reacted from there, and then eventually just moved to the downside. Okay, so it opened with that gap again after the European elections that happened 1 week ago, and since then it is just moving lower. Again, expected. We start already having that break of a low, and then the full compression was in there as well. There was actually this demand zone as a last level of supporting here. Aside from that, there was nothing else, and we already had this low as well. Right, so this is exactly what I mean when I say that I want to see weakness on price, as price eventually is going to the upside. Like, what I want to see is exactly that. I want to see lows being broken on the way up, lows being broken on the way up, all of it towards eventually to the extreme of the level in there. So when you do have those lows being broken, again, it's a different story. Price just goes higher, actually respects this low in here and push higher again, kind of keep respecting this level, and there's no low being broken, just continues. Usually that leads a little bit more of a bullish scenario in here, or strength in this retracement to the upside or move to the upside. When you start having those breaks of lows, that's a different story. Okay, and especially then when you have also this strong compression as well in here, because it starts taking every of the orders, and then eventually it's easier to just turn, and then it needs to navigate, in this case, quite a lot until it finds the next level of orders, kind of what is the next valid demand zone in here for price to look for. But good reaction, and no surprise. Again, no surprise with the movement on the Euro index. This was something that we looked for based on the PA that price was printing, and based on the level as well on the left side, and all the overall picture in here. So now that we managed to break below all that structure, right? So basically managed to go all the way until there, and price may have even, yeah, no, it's reacting from this extreme in here. But yes, we did manage now to break below this low. It kind of still makes it a bit more bearish, but again, after those breaks in here, that's usually a good moment to retrace. So we'll see again, the Euro index even left that gap in there from 1 week ago. It left it open in there. Yeah, so again, we may continue to have a little bit more bearish momentum on the Euro index and Euro pairs, and a bit more on the upside on the dollar. And then the Yen index, right? So this is something that we have also been looking for the last few actually months. Okay, eventually looking for that turn to the upside in here on the Yen index, and the downside on the individual Yen pairs. And there you go, right? So exactly what we kind of predicted in here, looking for price to compress. Yep, we predicted that part. We looked for price to create some level of structure with this double top in here. We're looking for price to make that push higher and eventually to fake out this level. It happened, and then price moved higher. Now this fake out was just a small level. All this time we have been looking for price eventually to react towards this this demand zone in here, either the way I draw it in there, or you can even consider a little bit of that zone in here as well. So it's something like that. However, price hasn't really touched that level. Okay, so price hasn't really touched this level yet. So who knows if eventually, with all this scenario, price eventually is going to react from there and push higher from here. Right, so that's something to pay attention to. We had a few attempts in here, price just respected that level. Again, we start having a little bit of a few push to the upside, and then we start looking for price also to move a little bit lower and to eventually target this low once again as price was moving lower. And that's what happens with the BOG on Friday, and price turning to the upside after the BOG. Okay, so it's going to be interesting at this point, because the government will still remain kind of unchanged and delaying out the situation until the next meeting, I think is in July. So that's maybe the moment where they are going to hike again interest rates. So perhaps that's when the market actually is expecting a shift in here. But of course, price can start pricing in that move, and because of that, we can start having a reaction in here. Okay, so again, I think it's still reasonable to continue to look for the reversals. I think the PA looks good. The compression looks nice. We did manage to break again new highs in here. So that looks nice on the Yen index. Now, we definitely can go a little bit into this, into the war time frame, and somewhere in here. As you can see, price basically already spiked with the news. Maybe there's a small demand zone in here that price can still use if that was not if it was not touched yet. And then you can look a little bit higher, because this is kind of the last decision point to actually break to the upside. But yes, we do have this break in here. Basically, those highs were being compressed all the way. And yes, we do have this level, the same way that we still have this zone in here as well. Yeah, that becomes the new zone in there. And again, one more time, still aiming eventually for price to get closer to this level as well. So that's the yen index in here, and you'll see then on the yen pairs what kind of opportunities we are going to have in there. All right, again, feel free guys to comment to tell me which levels you are looking for. All right, 1 second. Now into the individual currency pairs. All right, so euro dollar. Okay, and the bearish moves continues. We were looking kind of this pattern. Once again, we start breaking lows. In this case, we had the break of the highs first, and then you start breaking some lows in here. Okay, now personally, I was actually looking for price to get towards this level, so a little bit higher, instead of price just pausing where it paused, like so from that level. I wanted slightly higher. That was the level I was looking for, and I think that could be reasonable. I did like when I saw this double top of this highs in here, and the fake out was literally just something to wait for. And yeah, price never really got to the level I was a little bit looking for, a little bit higher, but that doesn't invalidate then the rest. All right, then you can start looking again for those trades in alignment with these left shoulders. Again, we have those lows being broken already. Basically took the orders from this last month zone, and below that everything was basically compressed. A little bit of a wave in there, but everything compressed until basically here. Yep, somewhere in there, and can even go slightly lower to be honest. In here, this was a good PI, and then eventually price just moved to downside with the CPI again. No, not the CPI this week. This was with the NFP. Gap opposite to the euro index. Euro dollar actually closed the gap, okay, but meanwhile it had already broken this low, so that was a really good clue of what was about to happen with the break of this low. This was, if not mistaken, on Tuesday or something like that. So it breaks the low, it shows indication where it wants to go next, but meanwhile there was a gap to close, and there was maybe something in there to look for. That's exactly what the euro index did. Okay, so it went higher one last time. Again, if you go into the lower time frame, you can actually maybe see where the last level was. It's not in there. It's actually a bit more, a bit higher. Second. Second in here. Yeah. So, oh, damn it. Yeah, right. So in reality, that's basically a little bit of the last level. On the tick charts, most likely you can see something in there. Okay, so that was NFP in there. If you go even a little bit more to the left, you actually see that this is a nice bit of the month zone that created the separation towards the upside. Was hold a little bit one time, broke, and that's basically where price end up reacting. And sometimes you do need to pay attention to these ones, because that's where actually price ends up reacting in here. And this is an important one, because that's one that actually pushes price to the upside in there. So sometimes, yes, we don't really see the level in here, but sometimes it's just in alignment with something else on the left. And meanwhile, just pushing lower. Same thing with the euro index. Kind of it starts to turn to the downside in there. Again, the spike was also created around the time of the ECB, okay, in here with the interest rate decision, and then price just moved lower. That was 10 days ago. Again, everything was compressed, and at this point, personally, looking for the euro dollar to continue to move a little bit more to the downside. I think I mentioned a few times that this for me was not really a relevant low. And I do think that euro dollar may continue now, and there can be a shift in here again with the ECB already changing interest rates and the Fed still delaying it until September. There may be a shift in here and maybe more bearish move on the euro to be expected. We'll see what's going to happen, but yeah, at this point targeting a little bit more to the downside, especially maybe going below that low in there. levels to continue to look for another breakdown. Yeah, something in here can be reasonable. At this point, we have this double top in there. That fresh supply is still in there, so that will be one of them. Then you have a little bit of a zone in here as well. The prices want eventually to fake out everything in here, and that can start being a little bit of a show that wants to turn. Yeah, that will be a bit more into a bit more to the higher, to these higher levels in there. All right, so that's euro dollar. Again, I'm looking for price to maybe continue to move a bit lower. This is not about the level, to be honest. The price kind of turned a little bit more on Friday, so we'll see. But definitely still expecting at least new lows being created. I don't really think that this is the last low, unless something on the lower time frame, on the higher time frame, sorry, changes my mind. We do have this weekly level. Yeah, maybe reacting from this level. It's one of the last fresh levels in there on this time frame. So yeah, maybe we can have one last low and then try to reverse a little bit. Just something to bear in mind on the euro. Okay. Pound, beautifully. Okay, so pound made that move down. Again, this is the bigger rectangle that we have in here. Good reaction. Again, this is a left shoulder. We have the fake out in there, and we noticed that there was kind of this double top in here, and there was a gap in there. But okay, so that was something that we realized. This high was still reacting underneath this level, and most recently, this is a little bit of the range that you start looking at in here. Okay, and what we had before, this was something that we shared in the server as well. We start noticing for that last break in here. Okay, so we had our eyes to see a potential reaction from this level, closer in here, faking out this double top in here, and all these highs as well that kept respecting that level. And after that, we'll be looking for the bigger sell in here. It was a nice break of a low in here. At this point, we don't really have a break of a low just yet, until we finally have, and it happens in here, the small fake out, and then we had that big push with the CPI, if not mistaken, and then price just turns. One of the targets naturally is just to fill this range, and then we can even continue to push a bit more to the downside in here. So that can definitely be a level to look for on the pound. Maybe a little bit of a continuation. Now let's see how price reacts from here. Okay, this taking these lows in here can be enough to create some kind of liquidity and push price a little bit more to the upside. But then we do have a few levels in here that price can definitely still respect and continue to push lower. Okay, so those levels they are there. Something in there, kind of somewhere in here. Yeah, and at this point, I wouldn't really like to see price kind of pushing all the way back to the highs. If that happens, then can change a little bit the story, and then you can actually start looking a bit more to the upside. At this point, I would at least like to see this was being broken. And as you can see in here, there's already a few spikes up and down in here. So this makes it a bit weaker as well. And then eventually price can actually start going a bit more to the downside in there. So yep, it's another one. Again, it's going to be one of the important pairs for this week with the CPI and then BOE on Thursday. So yeah, if you're looking for volatility, pound, dollar may be one to look for, and other pound pairs as well. By any chance in here, there's maybe still something to look for as well, if price does by any chance does this kind of retracement in there. All right, and if price by any chance then continues to push lower, which could happen, yeah, I'm going to be looking for price to go towards there, even though that looks already touched, and then you can start even looking below that as well in here. So key level, let's see how price reacts from there, and yeah, that's basically the next one in here on the pound dollar. Euro pound just went all the way down. Okay, even fake out initially that low, and at this point even looking for price to get a bit closer to that low, even though the reaction is not bad from that demand zone in here. So if I count this demand, it was the initial level that I had, and at this point it can even go slightly lower. It continues to print to look quite bearish. We do have this gap in here to look for. Again, didn't really close the gap. It kept respecting that level from 1 week ago, and eventually can go all the way, react from something in there. Now we are still in this compression. Price hasn't really managed to break any relevant high, so we can still eventually respect this level and push lower one more time. But the level that is reacting from right now is somewhere in here, and it's not bad. And there's even a chance to go slightly lower. It should be even better eventually to look for a potential trade from here. So we will see what kind of behavior this euro pound is going to make. And again, because we do have quite a few news regards to the pound, can be a level to, or a pair to pay attention to as well. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. Yeah, any longs from now, of course, closing the gap and getting a bit closer to here can be reasonable targets. The same way that from there, maybe there's a potential continuation to the downside in here. Yes, I don't like this level. I think price could eventually fake out that low and maybe react a bit more from here. Yep. So that's euro and pound. Aussie dollar. What a beautiful reaction as well. Okay, so that's amazing. How the move. Again, we respect that level, just looking at the higher time frame where we are coming from or reacting from. Then we had this low and we managed to break below it. Okay, we managed actually to fake out or break below that low in here, and that kind of start opening the door a bit more to the downside. And how beautiful this move was. Again, this high didn't really reacted from that level. I actually had that marked, maybe even in the previous stream as well. Yeah, that's a beautiful gap in there. This high didn't react from it, and then this last push actually reacts from it in there. The PA was also quite nice. We start breaking lows in here, so that's exactly what you want to look for. Before then, price just crashed in here. This was during the FOMC in there. Okay, so that after the push upwards with the CPI and then kind of the turn in here. Now this kind of for me it's an engulf down, even though my price still is respecting something in there. I think this Aussie dollar eventually could push a bit more to the downside, with the dollar index also moving a bit more to the upside. Again, on Tuesday do have the interest rate decision, expecting to remain the same in Australia. In here, again, it's one of the countries that has the lowest interest rate. It didn't really hike that much. It's still 4.35%, if not mistaken. So even the other ones, they can cut quite a lot, and most likely they are not even reaching the levels of the Australia's interest rate. Now we do have a lot of compression on the way down, so we'll see. It's a bit tricky to think about where we're going to be looking for a sell in here. By chance, that's what we're looking for, or at least wait for some kind of PA before looking for that move. But this high again, it was beautiful, really good, in this low as well. It was really nice as well, kind of breaking below these lows and that low as well. That's literally what you want to look for in this type of a move in here. And that's a beautiful trade within ranges. Yeah, that's actually quite amazing in here. All right, so that's Aussie dollar. Again, euro Aussie just continues to push a bit to the downside as well. So basically a little bit of Aussie dollar and euro Aussie moving lower. That's not that often that we see it. But yeah, targeting, at least looking for price to target this low in there. So that's one of the zones, and then eventually can even go a bit lower in here. But for now, yeah, looking for price maybe to target this low, and from there we will see. Compression is quite strong, and the price kept respecting this level. I can even go higher, to be honest. Yeah, so not really much to look at it. Maybe wait for price to take that low, and then maybe reverse a little bit before continue the push downside. There's maybe this demand zone in here that price can react from, and then eventually can even go below that in there. And then we start looking at the end pairs, okay? And Those are the interesting ones. Okay, the Aussie yen kept prospecting still this high, and one more time touching in there. We did manage to break below this low already, even though kind of still respecting that level. Start breaking slightly, or at least printing some lows in here, because we do have all these highs in here. If Aussie yen by any chance does want to create one last fake out before pushing lower, I wouldn't say no, or I wouldn't be surprised if that would happen. Again, where the low reacted in here, when it did manage to push lower, it was a good demand zone in alignment to previous well support resistance. So it's a good demand zone, which means that we may actually have one last fake out of this high, or one fake out of this high, before having a big turn in here. Okay, so that's the consequence of sometimes when price actually reacts from a good level at the lows, or eventually just flip the script and it's going to be at the highs. Now we do start managing to break some lows. Again, price respected nicely this demand zone, and then start printing in here and just reacted from that level in here. So let's see if price respects one more time this level and pushes lower from here, or if it wants actually eventually to challenge this high in here. So that's something to look for. Aussie yen. Now from the yen pairs, pound yen is the only yen pair that already managed to break that high. Okay, pound yen is the only one. Aussie yen is getting closer. Euro yen reacted perfectly from the supply. Dollar yen is still far away. CAD yen is still a bit far as well, if not mistaken. If by any chance Aussie yen does want to go higher and even fake out this high, it can, and it can get a little bit closer to that level. Okay, so that would be still reasonable to think of, and I wouldn't be surprised if eventually that happens as well. Okay, but for now, let's play it a little bit more on the lower time frame of what you can see in here. And yeah, by any chance, with the news and interest rate decision in Australia, if this actually starts moving lower and it kind of goes below that level one more time, then I think that's the confirmation price is ready to start looking to move towards that level. Everything in here looks compressed to me, and I think price eventually is going to go below that low in here, into this level in there, at least. Okay, so yeah, that's a little bit of what we have. Again, we already have this reaction from here, so a lot of this in here is already being used as price was moving lower with some kind of news. Again, with the end, actually with BOG news, we do have this left shoulder in there, so that's something to bear in mind. Maybe price already reacted with all those touches in there, so that's just something in here on the Aussie yen to see what's going to happen in there. Dollar yen. Okay, so dollar yen initially respected that level that we also mentioned it was nice. Price respected, reacted from it. It pushed lower and it went all the way a little bit towards this lows. Not exactly sure if that was a great level. It is in the sense that it reacted from this left shoulder. That's not a bad zone in there, but on the overtime frame doesn't really mean much to me at this point. But price kept prospecting, went higher, prospected a little bit more time, and with the news finally it managed to break slightly above this level. Now it's reacting from here, and then eventually do have that supply in there that price can go towards to. Okay, at this point it keeps respecting this level. Okay, maybe can even go slightly there if it wants to, and then still continue to push higher. Okay, now that you managed to break above this level, it's not a bad zone, but eventually price or dollar yen can actually eventually go slightly higher in here. But for now, price is respecting the lows in here. Okay, yep, at the highs, there's maybe something to look for. We'll see. Yeah, we will see. It's another one that I think can be quite interesting. I think eventually you can have that push lower. Let it take every single demand, let it kind of clean out the levels in here, and eventually have the push lower. So it's definitely a pair to continue to pay attention to. in alignment with yen index and eventually dollar index as well. Euro yen. So this is something that that we have been predicting, right? So the reaction from the supply, euro yen reacted perfectly initially from the buyers, and then a little bit later on from the actual KM in there. We had already that break to the downside in here, breaking to this compression, and then eventually we leave this price in here for price to go towards 2. So it went higher, it fake out the level, then beautiful reaction, right? So that will be one of the best trades in here that happened in terms of PI in this any time frame, to be honest. It's visible almost everywhere. So that's perfect. Price went lower. It managed to break again the demand zone, not really reacting from the extreme, which means that this was another engulf down in here. Then it starts creating this PI and it just moved lower. Personally, I was still looking for price to go slightly higher one more time, but apparently it was enough, and the PI was good. But again, I would like to had seen this euro yen going slightly higher. It didn't, and then it even reacted one last time in there until finally price pushed lower and kind of closed this gap in here between this low and that structure with all these left shoulders as well in there. So that's an interesting one. Again, this is an important low that made or created all this push to the upside from here. So breaking below it, it would open a little bit more the door to the downside. Still respecting it, it's still going to rise some kind of question mark to see if this is actually something to hold and push higher, or we are actually having a turn in here since we are breaking new lows in here. So that's going to be an interesting one. Again, if price does want to go all the way through in here, it still can. So that's something to bear in mind. Again, we had a weak euro index, and that supported also this move to the downside on the euro yen in here. For example, opposite to some other yen pairs where they were not that weak comparing with the euro dollar. Sorry, with the euro yen. And this is something that we need to pay attention in terms of correlation to try to position ourselves in the best individual asset to try to take advantage of which one is weaker, which one is stronger, and kind of look at it and position ourselves, pick and select which ones we want to be involved with in here. Okay, so that's, yeah, this is euro yen. Pound yen, as you can see, it's a bit stronger. It already fake out the high, not just once, but now even twice. Good compression in here. This was a good reaction from this previous support resistance. Start to print in here, and now it turned. Now in the wartime on the left side, there's maybe a little bit more room to the upside. Maybe price eventually wants to go closer to that level. It's just reacting from whatever it may be that's in there. Not sure if I have data on the daily. Yeah, I don't have it. On a monthly, doesn't really mean much to me neither. Yeah, there's maybe this left shoulder. Basically, that's it. So yeah, we will see. We will see from here. Okay. Again, this looks like a nice PA as well. This was a nice turn. Kind of start breaking some lows in here. So yeah, maybe from here, if prices want to retrace, maybe there's some kind of shorts to look for. If at this point, I don't like this demand zone, for example, if price wants to go there, or eventually you can even completely break these lows and start even looking for this a bigger range, or at least something in alignment with this demand zone, so that eventually can be a target. Just question mark is if this is actually ready finally to do something like that, or it does want to continue to create new highs in here and eventually move forward. Right? So again, looking at the pound yen, looking at comparing with euro yen, pound yen is definitely a bit stronger. Or it has been a bit more stronger comparing with euro yen. And this week, again, with the CPI in the UK and also the BOE, it's going to be an interesting one to look for in here. Again, a lot of spikes already on the way down. Again, that was due to the Bank of Japan on Friday. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen around this structure in there. Again, a good PI to be kind of price retracing a little bit, maybe having that first touch and then kind of maybe breaking a little bit off a low and just do one last fake out, maybe to react from this level in there, and then kind of goes down a little bit, breaks the low, retest it, test, and then then moves lower, right? Something like that, which can provide you maybe with an entry in here and eventually another entry in there if price eventually actually wants to retrace that much. Many people may be tempted straight away to look for the short, maybe under trace of this level, but maybe that's just a small reaction initially before that final turn and kind of something like that, right? So that could happen. Something to bear in mind in here on the pound yen. Yep. So let's take a look into it this week as well. It's going to be interesting. Yep, we can look at CAD yen as well. Again, it's been a while since I looked at this one. All right, CAD yen. Yeah, same thing. So we haven't really reacted from the supply there. So a bit far away from it. Yep, that's basically still the rectangle in here that basically we are looking. All right, so it's basically looking at this highs, kind of managed to break that low, and did react from here. Yeah, maybe looking a bit more for price to get there. Good compression so far. We did manage to fake out slightly that low into something in there. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, potential reaction still from these highs, or eventually can continue to move a bit more to the upside in here. Yeah, I would like still a new high being created in here. Yeah, so that's something to look for. CAD pairs. My CAD pair is interesting. So we managed to break above that level, above this high. This was a full compression in here, a little bit of this high in here, and eventually kind of looking for price to get closer to that level. So we broke the highs, fake out the low, and continue to push higher, and then kind of already reacted from the demand zone as well, and kind of retesting from this level one more time. So price already fake out this level into that zone in there. Yeah, and at this point, basically just respecting this level in here. Kind of we start printing that level as well, this kind of rectangle with price kind of creating lows, respect the highs, start breaking slightly with these lows. One more touch in there. We have the fake out, price moving lower, and now we kind of have the retest towards this left shoulder in here, while this level in here continues to be, it was a bit retested in here and in there. Price push lower, react from the demand zone, and now we are where we are. Okay, a bit in the middle. Again, personally, I still like the idea of dollar CAD getting a bit closer to the highs instead of just pausing where it paused. So I'll still like to see them going a little bit more to the upside. Do have this demand zone in here as well. So yeah, basically price has been trading within this level for quite a while. The other CAD pairs, that's actually where the best opportunities, in my opinion, kind of pop up. So we have Euro CAD. Again, strong compression on the way up and price getting closer to this level. Similar to Aussie dollar, we have this extreme in here of the compression. If price had broken above that level, then eventually looking for price to get even higher. But I think price kind of respected the extreme in there. And since then, it start moving lower, right? So again, we had that initial turn that was with the BOC, Bank of Canada, interest rate decision, and then it was confirmation with the FOMC, with the ECB as well, and the break of this low is perfect. Price just closed the gap in there and just pushed lower. Again, could have gone there, but it didn't. Just reacted from the lower edge and it just pushed lower. Okay, the break of the lows again, it was perfect as a confirmation. A lot of it has been compressed, maybe a little bit of a reaction here, but below that also compression. Now suddenly can go towards more of this level in there. Okay, so that's maybe as level to continue to look for. Again, price may not just drop like this. There's maybe some retracements to be expected, some manipulation in there before maybe price continues to push lower. Okay, but really good PI. All the compression was quite good. The break as well was quite nice, and that's basically what we have at this point. Maybe looking a bit more of a continuation in here than anything else. So we will see pound card as well. It was perfect. Okay, so being able to identify this type of ranges or compression is really good. Okay, because this eventually becomes a target that you can aim for after price creates finally that fake out, right? So we have a high, which was a little bit of a fake out of all the structure, but didn't manage to break the lows. And then you have finally another push up. And what happened just before the push up? We actually managed to break below that low before the push up, right? That's actually a cool as well of a potential turn. And if you want to trade the highs, it's actually nice to see it break of a low before that push upwards. That starts showing indication where price want to go next. Looking into the lower time, into the higher time frame, and seeing looking left, we're also reacting from an interesting level of supply in alignment with all these left shoulders in there. Okay, so that's not a bad level in here where price actually is reacting from, and that makes it even better to eventually look for that sell. And there you go, price just start moving lower. It filled the compression quite easily. That will be definitely a target to look for, and eventually can even look for another target kind of a little bit below that, and eventually can even go below as well. To be honest, not sure if this is actually going to be able to hold price in there. Yep. So again, now it's more of a continuation patterns in here. But the PA at the highs as well, it was quite good, right? So Euro card and Pound card, it did look quite nice, to be honest, for a turn and the potential massive trade from here. Okay, so that's going to be something to look for. Again, this demand zone can be one of the initial targets as well in here. Yeah, so looking now at dollar franc Swiss. Dollar franc Swiss also played out quite nicely, to be honest. So we had that high, that was something that we saw a long time ago, and we had the rectangle in here. We then start breaking some lows in there. This is kind of one of them, then kind of another one, then kind of another one, and we had all these left shoulders in here. Eventually to look for price to go towards 2. Again, you could even have gone slightly higher. You could have even fake out properly these highs in move lower, but apparently it was enough. Spent quite a few days in here. We push lower, kind of take the lows, and then it was just a continuation from here. Price filling this range, fills that space in there, and then starts moving lower in this case. Okay, again, really good PA as well in terms of the reversal in here. Again, this is wrong data. This is the right data of reacting from there. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, maybe that lower edge is still free for eventual price to fake out this level and go. Because in reality, price just created exactly the same thing, but on the lower time frame. We did have that supply level in there. The price left behind. Basically, price just reacted from the previous support resistance. If we do ignore this candle, again, this is from the opening, and it's a bit tricky. It's not real. And if you just actually look at the rest, we have this low, we have this low, we have this high in here, and then we have this break to the downside. Then we have fake out, and price just reacts this level again. Right, so that's actually kind of a nice little move. Again, ignoring this candle in there. There you go. Price then just starts moving lower. Again, it reached a target, was this demand zone in there. So yeah, we'll see. Bigger picture, I think price is ready to continue to move lower, a bit more towards that level in there. And yeah, we'll see if this dollar franc Swiss actually does that. Gold, good reaction. So gold went all the way down to react from these lows again after that fake out in there. It was really good. Yeah, good push to the downside. Again, I was looking for gold to go slightly higher instead of just pausing in here, but apparently it was enough. And there you go. Price starts pushing lower, respects this level, breaks the highs, and then kind of breaks this mid-range in here, and then kind of respects the month, and we are here. So bigger picture, this can be seen a little bit of a turn to the downside, but we definitely need the new wall being broken to be made in here before turning a bit more bearish. Okay. Yeah, it will be actually interesting to see if we do have that that break to the downside to open up more bearish scenario. Then price could even retrace, and then eventually could look for that bigger sell in there. Otherwise, if price just keeps respecting this level, then it can continue to go a bit more. Yes, left side. So we'll see what's going to happen on gold, but could move all the way from here down, and yeah, we'll see now. We'll see now. And then oil as well. We kind of predicted that move as well in here. Okay, so we had that level. We had now this move in here. The price kind of still respected a little bit that level. Brent actually had already broken this low. And then we had this Queen supply level that we mentioned as well. Again, this highs never reacted from it. And there you go. Push lower, start breaking some lows, and then push lower in here and fake out of the highs, and then kind of push to the downside. Filling out this level, we can eventually for price to get there, or even a bit lower in here as well. So after doing that, price starts to turn to the upside. And now we are kind of stuck in here. So looking for oil to go slightly higher, and we'll see higher or lower in here, and then you'll see if again can continue to push a bit more to the downside, maybe a bit closer to, I don't know, closer to somewhere in there. And yeah, we will see. Yeah, I would like to see a little bit more of a push higher before trying to go lower. And that's basically it. That's basically it, guys. Yeah. So again, beginning of the week, maybe a little bit more of a continuation on the dollar to the upside. Indices, I believe you're going to at least create new all-time highs in the beginning of the week, and then you can have that retracement, and then it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen around Thursday and Friday if you do resume the new all-time highs or not. That's usually the pattern that you have on the indices during this period of all-time highs. It's basically Monday, maybe still a bit bullish, then maybe Tuesday, Wednesday a bit down, and then kind of Thursday resumes, with Friday as well challenging the highs again, unless we do have kind of that shift, and that's basically turned into a bearish week in here. In commodities, they are a bit more in the middle at this point, with gold and silver. With gold and oil as well. So that's going to be interesting. And yes, FX, as I mentioned, dollar maybe slightly higher initially, euro as well, and the end pairs as well eventually, to see when we do have that turn. Focus on the Aussie, focus on pound dollar for this week, and then on Friday with manufacturing and services PMI. That's going to be an interesting day as well to end the week with volatility in there. So that's what we have. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, so again, feel free to comment anything, any questions. Yeah, and even if you are watching the Euros as well, yeah, let me know who are you supporting, who would you like to win, and yeah, I will speak to you soon. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you around. Thank you. Bye bye. Hey, Saraf. Did you just join the stream? Yeah, man, the last 2 weeks I've been in Portugal, so I visit my family. I was supposed just to be there for a week. I actually ended up postponing and stayed there for 2. So yeah, that's basically what happened. And yeah, I was busy during those Sundays. So yeah, I'm back into the UK. Yeah, no problem. I actually just finished, to be honest. I just went over all the markets. It was a bit of a quick one in here. It's been interesting 2 weeks. How was your trading for these last 2 weeks? Did you manage to get good trades? in drawdown. Any specific reason, or just it is what it is at this point? Are you making small mistakes that you can recognize that you shouldn't be doing it, or it's just not being able to identify good trades, or a few break-even trades, or what's the reason for that? Yeah, mistakes. Yeah, man. Yeah, just keep journaling. Keep journaling. Are the mistakes due to FOMO? Are the mistakes kind of you have a loss and you kind of try to force that to recover on the same day? Is mistakes that you are not identifying good levels and you're trading a little bit in the middle of nowhere, not taking profits? Like, is there any? So trading against the flow, right? Yeah, that can be a little bit more of a higher time frame analysis. Again, you continue to trade the pound, dollar, CAD, and those are the two most ones that you trade. Right among GU at fake out. It was GU. When did that happen? You mean on the Thursday? Yeah, last week. After this fake out. Somewhere in here? Somewhere in there. Right. Tell me the day. Which fake out are you looking? Is this one? It was Friday, okay. So was that the most recent you tried to go long? Was that at the end of the week then? Okay. Yeah, you look at this one as an engulf maybe. You thought that this was an engulf upwards. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah, it still kind of reacted from it. It was this level, basically reacted from in here. But yeah, just respected straight to the next level. Yeah. Yeah, but this was again, I covered that one a little bit now on the I already covered this one on the pound dollar. This was something that we were looking for this final fake out of all this structure. And actually this breakout level, it was actually cool to look for more bearish after price kind of fake out that level. Yeah, I actually mentioned in the server after the strong CPI and also after the CPI being so good kind of from what market was expecting and such a good reaction that if by any chance price actually just turns straight away, that can actually mean a strong turn, a strong shift in the market, and that was a bit more towards the dollar in here. Also, we have the dynamics now of the interest rate changing on the Eurozone. Canada, again, in UK is still going to be delayed as well. I'm not expecting any rate cuts. And yeah, that can be a little bit of a shift of a trend as well in here, with the rate cuts. You mentioned New Zealand USD. I don't know if I have New Zealand USD in here, to be honest. Everything here. Yeah, that looks like it has been a good short. More in the middle. Yeah, something more in the middle. Yeah, that was nice. I actually preferred a little bit more maybe the Aussie dollar. But this is still, yeah, did I have this one? I had this one here. I didn't even know sometimes. Yeah, this was perfect, man. This actually reaction was perfect. Did I had this marked in here? Yeah, this was beautiful. For some reason I have this one in here. I have this triple top in there. That's perfect. None of them reacted from it. Did I cover this before? I don't even know if I had this beforehand or I just made it. But this is a great level. Yeah, that was perfect. Yeah, initially price already just the target already kind of got reached with this drop first, which now makes this one maybe still interesting. I actually would have preferred if price had just made all this move, then made that fake out, and then you have a clear target. It's similar to pound CAD. Yeah, in this case, because price already kind of reacts from there without even breaking anything, it's still a bit tricky. But this well can still work. But yeah, the level in here, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's really good. I think I remember analyzing this. Yeah, I don't look at New Zealand that often, to be honest. Yeah, nice turnaround. The PA is not my favorite, to be honest, but the level was really good. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, keep journaling. Try to see what. Again, what you don't want to do is kind of try to revenge trades or stuff like that. Like all those low quality trades, it's definitely something that you don't want to do. And those are the ones that usually kind of damage your performance and our equity account. So try to stay as much as possible away from those trades and keep looking for those high quality opportunities in there. Like actually, I don't know if you have watched the Roger Federer speech one like last week. Actually, I just posted the first one on LinkedIn. I'm starting to share some posts there. It's interesting, man. He only got during his career, I think he played like 1,526 games, maybe. He won 80% of those games, around 80% of those games, but his points, he only won 54% of the points. So a guy that is maybe considered as one of the best tennis players ever, only won 54% of his points. Right? And again, what separates basically the top players? And I've been watching. I watched maybe 1 year ago already the documentary on Netflix and Breakpoint or Matchpoint, whatever name they call it, on Netflix, where they follow the tennis players. Yeah, it's the mindset, man. It's literally the way to deal with the losses. Like, it's just a point. Doesn't really matter if it is a win or a loss. It's just a point. Like, that's kind of how you start dealing with those mistakes and so on. What many of those tennis players and traders, it's really relatable just because of it's individual sport. Trading is also individual sport, and it's quite easy to get on tilt, even when you play tennis. So yeah, it's just the way to deal with it, the way to deal with the losses, to stay present. Like, he basically mentions that each point that you're about to play, which you can in trading, each trade that you're about to take, it needs to kind of be the most important thing in the world. Kind of for us, we really need to take it serious, prepare, do like respect the point or respect the trade itself, to try to win it and to do our best to actually win it. But as soon as it happens, as soon as it ends, you cannot dwell on it. Like, it's past. It's literally part of the past. You need to focus straight away on the next one. Like, and again, one of the challenges is exactly that, is because we continue to think about it and murmur about what just happened, and you go on tilt, and all of a sudden one loss leads into 2, 3, 4 losses. For the tennis player, is basically just because he lost a point, all of a sudden he actually loses a game, just because he's still thinking about the previous one. Yeah, it's actually kind of, I was enjoying actually to watch those series on Netflix. Of course, they didn't follow Djokovic or Nadal, whatever. They follow kind of the number 3rd, like someone in the top 10 ranking, and then some others even on the 20 or something like that. And it's quite frustrating for them, right? Because again, there was an era in tennis that basically Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer were winning everything. Now it's Carlos Alcaraz that's going to start winning almost everything. So it's frustrating for the other ones. Kind of, they know that getting to the semi-finals or final is maybe the best they can do. But many of the things that you see them going through the game, even sometimes when they start screaming, even at the referee, or I think there's a specific name for the referee, it's not referee, or even at their own coach, is exactly that. It's that they start getting on tilt. And that's why sometimes you see a set that is like 6-1 to one guy, and then kind of the other one is 6-1 to the other guy. Like, doesn't even make sense. How 2 sets can be so different from one side to the other, right? Sometimes it's because you are so close to win that you start second guessing yourself, putting limiting beliefs on you. Yeah, it's just an interesting aspect. Any books are also related to psychology in tennis. I would advise like the Inner Game of Tennis. It's a really good book. It's a small book, but it's super relatable for trading as well. Yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, nice pitch from Pedro. Yeah, the 3 rules tennis by Federer, whatever. All right, guys. Fair enough. Thank you, Sarah, for appearing one more time. Yeah, you can rewatch, and if you want to ask any questions. And yeah, watching the Euros. So let's watch England in half an hour. Do you like football, by the way? Do you support any team? I don't see any sport. Okay, all right. Oh. Yeah, this month with Euros is yeah, quite excited about it, to be honest. Hopefully Portugal can go far and maybe even win it. We'll see. It's game by game. All right. So yeah, I'll see you around. Thank you, Surab. Bye bye, guys. Thank you.